Why not? You don't want to have an honest job?
He could be a hustling entrepreneur. I want to manifest an entrepreneur-ass husband. I don't care what you do. Entrepreneur. Graphic designer. Sell t-shirts. Sell drugs. Entrepreneur. Okay?
A few moments later.
Just my finances. Like, the budgeting, you see how I am. We were in Bloomingdale's yesterday. I'm like, we have to go to H&M. I just don't have it, like, to spend.
If H&M is considered broke, what's Shein? What's Boohoo? What's ASOS?
Get it? They work hard. I used to have a 9 to 5. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. You work hard, you have money. I get it. I need an entrepreneur. I need somebody that understands my mindset. Somebody that has the same lifestyle. It has nothing to do with money, everything to do with lifestyle.
Okay, by now I know most of you, especially if you clicked on this, have seen the downfall, or what people are calling the satisfying downfall of B. Simone. People are laughing at her, calling her broke, laughing. I get it. I get the content.
Girl, I got H&M jeans on right now. Literally right now, I got H&M jeans on, okay?
And a whole bunch of H&M stuff
You see
that you taking back.
Because last week I was in France for business at Cannes or Cannes or whatever. Everything I took was from H&M and Zara. What are you talking about?
So what is the
That's
question?
high-end to me.
But this episode is not to really go into that. And just to put that out there, first and foremost, let's get some admin out of the way. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe in order for the channel to grow. It's going to need your support. Also, on top of that, just to get this clear, this episode is going to be a little bit different to my other one. It's going to be much, much shorter than the rest. It's not going to be as deep a dive because there's actually something bigger in the works. Something more bad boy. Like, yeah.
Where you put my bag? I like when you like this, Daddy.
Where you put my bag?
Daddy, I like when you
right
scrambling
here,
and scraping for shit.
But to satisfy the algorithm's need for content, I'm delivering this here today. What is it about B. Simone that we have the most content about? It really is kind of her broke shaming, kind of how she herself has now fell victim to the very thing she was laughing at.
My finances. Like, the budgeting, you see how I am. Nitpicking every little thing. I've never been like that. We were in Bloomingdale's yesterday. I'm like, we have to go to H&M.
Yeah.
Like, I notice it in me now, just nitpicking. And it's not even, I just don't have it, like, to spend. The liquid. Yeah. I'm used to having liquid.
Also, I think the dialogue she spreads, it's not just her, it's Bernice Bogart, it's people like Michelle from Grilling, even though she walks back half her comments.
Yeah, obviously, because I don't want a broke guy, but that's a standard.
Well, how much does a man need to be making a month to date you?
Bread.
This girl, bro, man. No, have a number though.
I used to say 6K a month.
Yeah?
Yeah, which I still think is all right. It's healthy. We can make it by.
Yeah.
But ideally, more. I'd say about 10 grand a month.
So you're not on like...
10 grand a month is comfy, isn't it?
10 grand a month is mad still.
It's
not
comfy.
for me, but...
No, but it's comfy.
But like, that's mad.
And I get it. People may say things for entertainment. Grilling is an entertainment show, mainly.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly say this about this clip that's going around about the money. I'm just going to say two things. Firstly, do not believe everything you hear online, okay? It's a show, it's entertainment, it's supposed to be fun. It was funny for me anyway. You lot don't seem to be laughing. Secondly is, if we're being completely transparent, I don't need no one's money, yeah? I've got my own money. I don't want your money, I don't need your money. It's never actually been about money for me. I'd much rather have like an average person with an average wage that's just like an amazing person. That is literally how I've always been, and money is not my drive, so let's not get that twisted.
But I think the reason why content and online content was so engaging, why it's ballooned at the point where it gets more viewership than TV programs, is because it was supposed to be, although entertainment, more authentic. And what's happened, or what's shown, is that people are acting more, or don't even know they're acting and being very performative. Realistically, earning 10K a month after tax is a lot of money. A lot. It'll put you in, off the top of my head, between 1% and 5%. I'll put it here what the real number is. And the fact people walk it back, the fact that people shame 9 to 5 is ridiculous. Being an entrepreneur is less unsafe. It has less security blankets. Yes, it's very rewarding. Yes, it suits particular divergent thinkers, people who can see problems and solve problems and offer solutions to those problems. They all have their brackets where they make sense for people. but I do believe the internet goes far too left of pushing one narrative. The internet's not a place for balance. Simone has fell victim to that. She's fell victim to a lot of trappings of wealth, finances, and being an influencer. Let me just put this out there. Anything an influencer says, don't believe it. They lie.
You're full of it.
Their whole thing is your attention. So if I need your attention badly, maybe I would bend the truth in order for it to work in my favor, especially when you reach those heights, especially when you are someone who dies and lives by virality. Okay?
And anyone that gets triggered by that is because you're broke. All right? Okay.
Now, I don't want to shame women for wanting someone who looks after them, wanting a provider, but we do need to attack the provider myth, especially in this economy. There's nothing wrong with that. Some women come from a place and a background where the man is the head of the household, and they just want to replicate that. They want to feel safe. There's nothing wrong with that. But be realistic in your goals. Also understand that just laying on your backside isn't enough. And often, where there's a lot of financial control from one party, that leads to abuse. How do you think Diddy got to where he got to? I had this debate with friends about how often you should pay for your girls to get her nail done. They looked at us as crazy to say that we would have a say, maybe some of us would dictate what the colour of the nail was. If I'm always paying for something, how can I not have a say? If I'm always paying for something, how can entitlement not come up? These conversations never really happen when we're discussing finances and the provider myth. A lot of women like the sound of it. It puts them in their feminine. But really get realistic. Let's break the fantasy and talk about what that really looks like when a guy is providing at that level. Very often, indeed, abuse occurs when it's 100% anyway. Does that mean you should date a guy that's a bum? Does that mean you should be going 50-50 on everything? No! You bum! No, I'm just saying, be aware, be cognizant of exactly what you're saying. A lot of these women, what they're giving off, the advice that they're giving off anyway, to me it's just glorified sex work.
This is some of the most romantic things a guy has ever done for you.
I think being romantic is how you speak to a lady. You know the little small things and you say, babe, here's $500, go and get yourself some more panties. How you know I need some? Oh, I checked your drawer. Little details. If I'm in the supermarket and I'm talking to you or you text me, hey, what are you doing? I'm in the supermarket and you send me like $500, that's like, whoa.
Big up Bernice. She is the Cristiano Ronaldo LeBron James of bad bees. But that's just tricking. That's hoeing. That's what that is. I've spoke about it before. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse down, but it is what it is. You know, I know this episode is not gonna be too deep a dive into this, but be aware of how society is manipulating us into different cultural wars, gender wars, and discourses online. We are in an economic crisis, right? We are in an economic crisis. Think about this. And the discussion right now, the biggest discussion about relationships are how much the man should provide and are we losing masculinity in an economic crisis where everyone is strapped for cash? Does that not sound to you somewhat exploitative? Does that not sound like it's putting us in a place where truly we are just providing for the system? It puts men in their weakest place where they feel like they're not doing enough, and it forces them in an area where they're gonna overwork themselves. And there's so much things online about the gig economy, side hustles. You're not working hard enough. The reason you're broke is because you're not working hard enough. That's dangerous advice because many men, the majority, are overworked. And I'll put this out there so a lot of people understand this. The majority of guys, not all. There are the fraud bays of the world.
No, well, when it came to obviously with Paris, I said, you know what, since she's been so generous anyway, that's fine. She don't mind me booking my flight to Paris. I booked the flight to Paris for myself, and I had a separate...
Wait.
Right.
You thought that she was going to be okay with you booking your flight to Paris for another woman?
Pause. I didn't book it for another woman, I booked it for myself.
Then what?
But for the other woman, I booked it off my own card.
So you still thought she'd be okay with you
100%.
booking a flight for yourself to go bone another woman in Paris.
Well, she wouldn't have known about that part.
But take fraud bays and those bad actors. Look at them as like the 20%. Look at the bums as the other 20%. That leaves us 60%, a majority. Most men will break their back 5 times to impress a woman they like. I've got friends in there. Shout out to my boy who crashed his car for a girl.
You're a clown. It ain't about perception.
They will go so far to provide for a woman. And if they're being respected, if they're being acknowledged, as Nelly said, they will do it again and again and again. That's all us guys really want. It's just the acknowledgement that we're breaking our backs. We don't even want the sympathy half the time. Might be a little bit toxic, but it is what it is.
Well, again, our families are very, very different, right? So I grew up not having, she grew up not wanting. Mm-hmm. She understands a lot more that that's not the norm. Mm-hmm. The getting what you want when you want it is not the norm. It's just not the norm, and the only thing you want to feel is appreciated. Yeah. Yes, I mean, once that was that, I don't care. You can have it all. I'll do whatever. I'll step in front of the bullet and the train as long as I know I'm appreciated. As long as I know that you boom, I'll do whatever. When you ain't never had shit, you ain't scared of going back to not having shit. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. But you'll do whatever you need to do for the one you give a damn about. And I'm just like, shawty, I'll run through the brick wall for you. Mm-hmm. Just long as I know that you understand I'm about to run through this brick wall for you. You know what I'm saying? I might not get up when I hear this. You know what I'm saying?
And this dialogue, all it does is create something regressive. It creates an unrealistic standard for men. It creates unrealistic beauty standards and relationship standards for women, leaving us all quite lonely and unhappy. And the statistics around people having children later, relationships breaking down more, all match this, what they call the loneliness epidemic. It all matches that. And we need to be more aware of societal narratives that are pinning down our relationships today and wake up to that. B. Simone, she's just a victim of that. People like to see and laugh at what she's gone through. I understand that, but it's so unrealistic. What she's talking about, I don't even think people should laugh about. If I really even cared to, I could have done a whole episode about the realities of being an entrepreneur, how expensive it is, how often being without liquid is quite normal. In fact, statistically speaking, most entrepreneurs, they're actually financially more insecure than 9-to-5ers. This narrative around 9-to-5ers it's gone a bit one way. It's not saying 9-to-5 is great, but it's gone too far left to almost denigrate people that work in 9-to-5 as lazy. That's crazy. And one more myth I just want to bust out there. Successful people, male or female, they are under high stress. Neurotically, they will be up and down. Dealing with someone like that isn't all trips to the Bahamas and walks down Cherry Orchard Road. I don't know where that came from, but it sounded cool. It is far more complex. They come with their own stresses, their own perfectionism, their own imposter syndrome, and people but the dialogue online is so poor around this narrative that it makes me sick to my stomach that we don't engage with it enough. And let me just put this out there. People who engage with the dialogue in a very surface level, you're not the problem. The problem is that that's all the dialogue that we have. The problem is not B. Simone saying she wants a baller, is that that's the majority, the loudest dialogue that we get about relationships. It's unhealthy, it's unrealistic, and it's quite shameful that people in their 30s and even their 40s still think that is acceptable conversation around relationships. Wake up to reality. We are in an economic crisis. Everyone's pulling from everywhere. There's nothing wrong with wanting a man to be a provider, but be a bit more realistic with what you expect him to provide, especially if you want the relationship to grow. Told you this is a quicker episode than usual. And we've met our conclusion. I don't want to offer advice. I'm single. I haven't got it all together. So I'm not going to give you advice. Not the best content thing to say, but that's the reality. But as someone, I have brassed myself, gone broke, to impress girls. And most of it was actually just to impress them on clothes, jewelry. waste of time. I don't recommend it, but if you want to try it and you're doing it, hey, have at it, horse. But for me, and most of my friends and people around them that have done it, it never ends well. And it's not the best for your self-esteem. It really does put you in a place where you're constantly comparing yourself to someone else. It's not worth it. But that's just my own insight into that. I would recommend, and the data into this shows, get offline. Most people aren't living the way you think they're living when you're looking online. I even have to remind myself of that. Detox offline. What half these people are saying, as you can see from a show, is either a gimmick, or from what Simone is, what the fallout of Simone has concluded us to get to, is just BS. And they're always on the other end of what they're saying. Let's change the narrative. Let's have a more balanced conversation online. I guess that's what the aim of this video was for, to bring balance to the force. What a nerdy thing to say, but that was the aim of this. Get offline. Don't think this is the real advice. Men out there, if you're killing yourself to impress women, don't. Work hard, work hard. I'm all for that, but don't kill yourself. The right woman will accept you for who you are and would honor your hard work. Don't do too much. Women out there, look, I'm not even saying lower your standards. Just get out of this fantasy, because realistically, do one Google search into an entrepreneur, a baller, you will see the lifestyle might not even match you, the kind of personality might not match you. There's so much more to it than we are allowing the conversation to be anyway. That's what I'm saying. But I don't want this to run too long. We could talk about it all day. I love talking to you guys. The audio on this episode isn't the best, but by the time you get to the Diddy one, it shall improve a lot. So, what is underneath my noise? I'm out.